Hi there, welcome or welcome back to the Books for Us. Today we are doing an unhaul. A couple of weeks ago I did a video in which I went through my bookcases to show all you beautiful people on YouTube what my bookcases look like, and I discovered that I have a lot of books on there that don't really need to be on there anymore, and because I am forever in need of space for the books that I do want to keep, I decided to do an unhaul and show all of you what will be moving out of my home soon. Now, a big chunk of this has been decided on already, and I'll run you through these in a minute. And the other part I want to do together with you. Those are all my books of 2024. All the books that I read in 2024 are still up here above me. And I want to run through those together with you and decide with each book if I want to keep it or not, or if I want to keep it for the moment and maybe decide on it later. Because indecisiveness is very much a part of this project. Well, let me start with some things that are definitely going, and let me explain to you why they are going. First off, I have books that I stole from my parents' bookcases during the past years, and I have to return them because I do not want to get disowned. So some of these are Dutch books and some of these are English books. One is The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. I have my own copy of that one that I still want to read. This one is The Shadow of the Wind, but in Dutch, by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, which is a beautiful edition. So sorry to go. Here I have The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. I have read this one. This one is also a very beautiful edition. It has the map in there and everything of the cloister, I want to say, or the abbey. Cloister or abbey? Anyway, it's the Dutch edition, and I have an English edition on here somewhere of my own. We have Das Lijden der jonge Wächter, or in Dutch, in English, The Suffering of Young Wächter by Goethe. My mom is into the Peanuts, so I have a couple of these Peanut comics that I'll be returning, and then I have their copy of William Butler Yeats' selected poetry, because I have my own version as well now. Then I had a lot of my own Dutch books that I've already put away because I probably already have the English version by now. But here I have some books that are still in Dutch, which I want to keep for my daughter, that she will hopefully be interested in reading when she's growing up. I have Haroun and the Sea of Stories by Salman Rushdie. I have The City of Dreaming Books by Walter Moers. Got a couple of the Roald Dahls. This one is The Witches. I've got Matilda, of course, and I wanted to say the GVR because it's in Dutch, but the BFG in English. The Little Prince, the Dutch edition, and Alone in the World by Hector Malot. This was actually my favorite book when I was young. It's sort of reminiscent of Oliver Twist, I think, but it's different also. So yeah, if you haven't read this one as a child, please do so now. Next up I have series that I have not read, but that I am putting down anyway. First I have all the books in the Mary Poppins series in this big book, which is a very pretty book. I would like to keep it just for the looks of it, but I know that I am never going to read all of this. I feel like by having all of the books together in one omnibus, it just feels too heavy to read for something that should be light, if that makes any sense. So putting this one away. Next I have these series. I think this is the Eye of Mine series. It's by James Dashner. Now James Dashner is on my shelves still somewhere with The Maze Runner. Because I like The Maze Runner, well, like the Maze Runner. I liked the first books of the Maze Runner, and I enjoyed it very much in the follow-up of when the Hunger Games came out, because we had Hunger Games coming out, and all of a sudden everyone wanted more of these trilogies that were about dystopias and these quests or trials that people had to go through. So you had the Hunger Games, and then you had Divergent coming out, and then you had the Maze Runner. And because of the Maze Runner, I bought these series as well by James Dashner, but I never ended up reading them. I've only heard that they were not that great. And many years have gone past now, and I've never felt like picking these up. So it's time for these to go. And then, probably not a popular thing for me to do, but I have these books by Sarah J. Maas, which are the Crescent City books. Well, the first and the second book, because the third one came out at the beginning of 2024, I think. And at first I thought I was going to read the series, and I bought these two books, and then the third book came out, and they didn't come out with the same kind of edition, the same style, which definitely ticks me off if you cannot complete a set in the same format. Am I using that correctly? You know what I mean. And I don't feel like reading this series, because each time if I ask someone if I should read this series, they tell me, oh, it's something different, it's something special, and to me that means like, well, it's maybe not worth getting through all of these pages, and I might be enjoying something else instead. So these are going. Then I have some standalone books that are going. This one is Some Kids I Taught and What They Taught Me by Kate Clancy. Once upon a time I started reading this one, and you can see that I indicated how far I got, and I never picked it up again. I am not in the habit of DNFing books, so me not picking this one up again definitely means that it was not interesting to me. I do not intend to read this at any point in time. Next I have Becoming by Michelle Obama. I thought that I wanted to read more biographies or autobiographies by people, and I started picking up a couple of biographies or autobiographies, and I read none of them. A couple have gone already. The Girl with the Lower Back Tattoo from Amy Schumer. I had it, it's gone. There are others that don't come to mind right now, but I'm just not a biography reader. I like my fiction. And then the third book on here is Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis. Now, this one is only going because I recently purchased the cloth-bound edition, the Penguin cloth-bound edition of this one, because I collect the cloth-bound editions. So this one can go because I already have a copy there. I do intend to read this one, however. Next up, we have series that I have read. First off is the Red Queen series. Now you can see that this one is still in the plastic and everything. I audiobooked this one, and while I was audiobooking the first or probably the second book, I decided that I wanted to buy the series and continue reading them, but then I ended up audiobooking all of these, and I never even opened this box. Now, I liked the series at the time. It's not the best series out there by any means, but I don't think I will be rereading it anytime in the future. So I'm thinking that this box, it's like this, I'm thinking that this box can find a better home where it can be loved a lot more. It's definitely very pretty. So yeah, sad to see it go for aesthetic reasons, but that's it. Next, we have a couple of the books in the Adrian Mole series. Now, I am keeping my original first two of the series, which were The Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 and a half, I believe. And then the one following that, The Growing Pains, I believe. And I'm keeping those because those were the original editions and because I liked them the most out of the whole series. I kept buying the follow-ups, but they never really hit the same as those first two did. So I can let go of these. And then I have the Aragon series. Here's the first one. I read all of these, I enjoyed all of these, but I am never reading them again. Then we have the Selection series by Cass. I read the Selection and then I started reading the one and then I quit. Which once again tells you how I felt about this series. I understand that at a certain age you would absolutely love these books, but I was never a fan of shows like The Bachelor and and this just didn't really hit for me. Especially because I read the first book, I didn't like this main male character who is supposed to be the love interest. I thought he was very wishy-washy. He just couldn't make up his mind, it seemed to me, and well, neither could she, actually. And it just never succeeded at pulling me in. And the last series is One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next. And I am unhauling these because I read them. I actually kind of like these, but once you know what happens, you know what happens. It's just those kind of books that you don't reread because there is no real point in rereading them. Moving on to standalones that I have read that I am unhauling. First off, I had this phase in my life where I wanted to read self-help books. These are a couple of them. We have Eat That Frog, You Are a Badass, Quiet, The Checklist Manifesto, and The Little Book of Talent. All of these I have read. Some of these I've taken a little something from, but with all of these I sort of felt like they have one statement to make and then they continue to make that same statement in various forms for 200 to 300 pages, and it's just not necessary to read all of that. So yeah, for whatever these taught me, thank you. Next. I'm getting rid of this version of Othello because I have another version of Othello, which fits the other plays that I have by Shakespeare. I am getting rid of all these. These are Treasure Island by Stevenson, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, Robin Hood by Greene, The Wizard of Oz by Baum. And Peter Pan, I'm not sure. I might want to hold on to this one. I like having different versions of Peter Pan. It's one of my favorites. I think, yeah, there's this indecisiveness coming in. I think I might put this one back in here for now. Now I'm getting rid of these because most of these exist in the cloth-bound Puffin editions, and I am collecting those as well, so these versions can go because I already will have different editions of these books. An old version of Oliver Twist. Geek Love by Catherine Dunn. This is a very special book. It's just too weird for me, I'd say, to keep. It's definitely something interesting to read if you enjoy like Mona Awad books. Then I think you would definitely like to read this as well. It's just completely odd and weird. I'm just not that much into weird books. Next I have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now I'm getting rid of this one because I have my trilogy in a paperback set somewhere on here, which is this box, and this one just doesn't fit. It's taller, it's a hardcover, and then quite recently I was tempted and I bought this beautiful boxed set with hardcover editions of The Hunger Games, which is in my other bookcase. So this one doesn't really fit anywhere, and now pretty soon the 5th book is coming out and I will buy it, and it will probably not fit with anything else either. So yeah. Red Sparrow by Jason Matthews was an okay read. I think the cover is pretty well done, although it is based on a movie and I don't really like movie covers for books. I have The Strange Library by Murakami. This is the first and only Murakami I have read so far, and I didn't really enjoy it. I have another Murakami somewhere on my to be read, which is something that I will still try. And after that one I will have a verdict on whether or not I'll be continuing to read Murakami. I have The Circle by Dave Eggers. This one is actually quite a good one to read if you like dystopia, if you like thought ideas about the future. I enjoyed this one very much. It's just that the cover is all faded. It doesn't need to be on my shelves anymore. Then I have some Stephen King. I have The Stand, which I read, and Firestarter, which I read. I read Firestarter because it was said to be something like Stranger Things, which I get. The reference is pretty clear because it is about this girl with superpowers. But I didn't really enjoy this one. It was okay. It is definitely an okay read, but I feel like Stephen King is just not the writer for me. It's the same like with The Stand. I like the idea, like what he is doing, but it always feels sort of superficial. It doesn't really get into any emotions, and it's always very male-driven. I read Monogram Murders in the misunderstanding that it was an Agatha Christie that I just hadn't read yet, but it is actually written by Sophie Hannah. But it is about Poirot, but it's just not the real thing. I read Not That Kind of Girl by Lana Dunham. So I did actually read some biographical content. It was alright. It's just, I'm apparently not that interested in the lives of actual people. I prefer fictional people to read about. Here is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, which was kind of predictable. We have Armada by Ernest Cline, and I also have Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. I want to say that I love Ready Player One. I adore that book. It is still on here. It will be on here forever. It is a favorite of mine to reread or to have as a comfortable read on audiobook, just because I have read it so many times by now. And I was just highly disappointed in Ready Player 2. It can go. I don't want to read this one again. And then I read Armada because he wrote this one before he read Ready Player One. But it just doesn't hit the same either. So yeah, they can go. I can follow those with some other sci-fi light books, I think, because we talked about Armada. I have The Fifth Wave by Yancey. I've read it. It's on my read list. It wasn't that great to me, but once again, I'm not really a science fiction person. Ender's Game. I enjoyed Ender's Game, but I will never read it again. The same for A Wrinkle in Time. I enjoyed A Wrinkle in Time. It is a good children's book. I would recommend it as such, but I'm never reading it again. And this one also has the movie cover, which I don't like. The Wave by Rue, but this one is an edition for people who start to read in English with questions, and I think it's just an abbreviated version of the original story. So I might be interested in getting hold of the actual full novel of The Wave. Here's Hyperbole and a Half by Elie Brosh. I got this one because at a certain point on the internet, on social media, a lot of these cartoons came out, and I read online her take on depression, which is also in this book, which I thought is really good. It's just that all the other stories in here, well, all the other comics in here aren't all as good as that one. So I'm probably not rereading this one. I got this book by Jenny Lawson because I have other books by her that make me laugh so hard, but this one turned out to be this sort of coloring book, which wasn't really my cup of tea. It can go. And then I'm left with some thrillers. I have One by One by Chris Carter, which is comparable to an episode of Criminal Minds. And once you have read this one, I don't think you will reread it because you know what will happen, and yeah, the excitement is gone. I enjoyed reading this one when I was reading it. It has some gore in it though, so be warned if you want to pick this one up. I have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I've seen a lot of people enjoying Lucy Foley. I thought it was alright, but definitely not the best thriller that I have ever read. I like the idea of things happening on an island, but there are so many people who have done that. So yeah, not necessarily this one. Here I have The Writing Retreat by Julia Bart. I enjoyed the beginning of this one. I thought I liked where it was going, and then it turned into something totally different, more like this horror kind of movie, which is definitely not my thing. So I didn't enjoy this one at all. And the last one is Shutter Island by Lehane. I read this one a couple of years ago. I had not seen the movie yet. I did see it afterwards together with my husband. I liked this book, but it definitely felt like a book that had been written decades before, because it was too easy to find out or figure out what was going on while you were reading this. It felt like it had been done several times already afterwards, which makes this one probably the OG. But yeah, it didn't hit the same as it would have hit if I had read this maybe 25 years ago. That's it for everything that was decided already. Let's get down on my 2024 reads and run through those together. Let's start with Emily Wilde. I have the other Emily Wilde in here somewhere. Here we go. I am keeping these. The third book and final book, I think, in the series has arrived, and I will be reading that one pretty soon. So I'm keeping these as to have the complete set. The Grace here, I enjoyed the Grace here last year. I think I want to hold on to this one a little longer as well. The Wild Iris by Louise Gluck. This is poetry. I enjoyed this poetry, but it's not my favorite kind, so this one can go. Local Woman Missing by Kubica. It was definitely alright to read. It was kind of exciting, but I know how it ends, and I'm not rereading this one ever. Emily Henry, Funny Story. It was okay. I'm just not that much into books that are all about romance and nothing else. So this one will be going as well. But if you like romance, you should read Emily Henry. Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. I want to hold on to this one, although I did not like it last year. And I felt really bad about that. But I think I should reread this one in like 20 years maybe, and see if by then it will hit any different. I can't let go of this one just yet. I feel like I have to give it more time. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Winstead. I'm keeping this one and I enjoyed this one a lot. The same goes for The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Enjoyed this one immensely. And Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Although pretty heavy on certain subjects, you should check those out before reading that book. Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer, is to me the same as Emily Henry, so this one will be going. Call Me by Your Name by Andrea Ackerman. I have very recently seen the movie for this one as well, which was really amazing as well. But this is a beautiful book and I'm keeping this one. Although it is about the romance, I know, but it just hits on a different level. Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. I have another Sarah Underwood on my to be read and I want to hold on to this one as well. For now, we'll see what the future holds. Selected Poems of Emily Dickinson. I am keeping this poetry. This is my kind of poetry. I want to hold on to this and I annotated it quite profusely. Yeah. The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst was one of my top 5 books of last year. I am definitely keeping this one. The Lost Story by Meg Shaffer I'm keeping, and I somewhere have that other book as well, which I will be keeping. I enjoy them very much. Piranesi was one of my favorites of last year. Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. Cannot let go of that one. Where the Crawdads Sing. Enjoyed this one a lot as well. Coraline, I know everything that is going on about Gaiman, and I'm very sorry that that is happening. It always hurts when a writer that you absolutely adore to read turns out to be, well, not what you hoped in real life. But I'm holding on to the stories. I cannot let go of Coraline. The Orange of Wendy Cope is also poetry, which I did not enjoy. This one can definitely go. On the Street Where You Live by Mary Higgins Clark. This is your run-of-the-mill murder mystery. It doesn't stick at all. It can go. Verity by Colin Hoover. I enjoyed reading this one quite a lot, but I will never read it again because I know how it ends, so it can go. Dungeons and Drama by Kirsty Boyce. I have another one by Kirsty Boyce that kind of looks the same, which I still have to read, and I don't know if it is a series, so I'm holding on to this one for now. Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, which was a really good book, but I am never reading this again. Bunny by Mona Awad. I told you before that I'm not really into weird books. I think that Bunny was very cleverly written. I think it is a very interesting book. If you are into those fever dream-like stories, then this one is definitely something that you should read. It's just not for me. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley is my parents' edition, so I have to return this one. Five Nights is a quite forgettable thriller, so this one goes. In Memoriam by Alice Wynne was one of my favorites. I'm definitely holding on to this one. It is a beautiful book. You should read it. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. We are holding on to everything by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Look into the Mirror by Stedman. Not what I wanted it to be. It can go as well. I won't be reading that. The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. I was quite sad to find that I didn't like this one as much as I thought that I would. So I'm not really on the hype wagon. Oh, I'm getting tired here. I am doubting if I want to keep this one because I kind of like this edition. I kind of like, but yeah, I don't know if I will be reading this one ever again. It should go. The Maid by Nita Prose can go, didn't really stick with me. Garrigan the Vampire by Brie Paulson, which is a comic book, wasn't really my cup of tea. It's very cozy and cute, but just maybe a bit too cutesy. A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. I am definitely keeping Ava Reid as well. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, keeping. How to Solve Your Own Murder can go. We solved the murder and yeah, I'm not returning to this one. Oh, here's the other Max Sheffer book, which was The Wishing Game. So this one is staying as well. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Zevin is definitely staying here. The Lady of Shalott by Lord Tennyson. Yeah, I'm keeping this one because it is sort of emotional for me. It is interesting to me. Yellowface by Kwang. I am in doubt because I still have to read the other books by Kwang. And if I like those, then I will probably want to have all her books. Because I really liked the first 2/3 of this book, and then I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the last part of this book. So I'm in doubt. I think I will hold on to this one until after I've read Babel or The Poppy Wars and see if I want to keep like all the Kwang books. Heartstopper Volume 5 I'm keeping. I have the other ones somewhere in here. The Haunting of Hill House by Shari Jackson. I'm not sure if I want to keep this one. I like the Penguin editions though. I might stick with this one for now, but I do believe that there is a cloth-bound edition of this one as well. A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston can go. I did not really enjoy that one as much. Where Snow Angels Go by Maggie O'Farrell was very cute. I want to hold on to this. Yeah, mixed bag here. Powerless, Powerful, and Reckless. I don't like any of these books. I all gave them a maximum of 1.5 stars, I believe. I even annotated everything I didn't like in this one, in Reckless. But however, I am going to read Fearless, the last book in this trilogy, just because I want to finish this whole trilogy, just to know how bad the whole trilogy actually is, if that makes any sense. I think this is called rage reading, and I know it is rage reading, and I know you shouldn't rage read, but yeah, I do think I will be doing that. So for now I'm holding on to these, and then probably next year I will unhaul these when I have read the whole series. Terry Pratchett, Father Christmas's Fake Beard. This one can go. It was quite alright, but I don't see myself rereading it. If He Had Been With Me, it can go. It was alright, but once again, those romance stories don't really hit for me. Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton really wasn't for me at all. If you are in your 20s and a girl, you might enjoy this. Free Run Beyond Journey's End just made clear to me that I'm not a manga kind of person. Graveyard Shift by Emil Rio I did not like. I'm going to hold on to this one for now, just to have all the Emil Rio books together. And then I'll see next year if I want to keep holding on to this one or not. Not in Love by Ellie Hazelwood can go as well with all the romance books. The Teacher by Frida McFadden is... oh, it is definitely not something that I want to ever read again. It has to go, it just has to go. The Girl in the Locked Room by Mary Downing Hahn was fun to read. It is definitely a good middle grade story. I think she has other stories as well that are pretty good, or so I was told. But this one for me can go because I don't see myself turning to this one again. The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Kundera. I did not like this one. I do not need to have it on my shelves to prove that I have read The Unbearable Lightness of Being, so this one can go for me. It's just, no. The Midnight Club by Pike also wasn't what I hit myself. It is taking its revenge because I am going to say bad things about it. It was not what I thought that it would be. I don't see myself picking this one up again. It can also go. A Stroke of the Pen by Terry Pratchett can also go. I did not really enjoy this one. I do think it's a beautiful edition though, so I hope it will make someone else very happy. The series of A Deadly Education, the Skullman series, I enjoyed these very much. I am holding on to this series. The one by John Mars, I enjoyed this one as well. This was this thought experiment about what would happen if there was this agency who could tell you who was the one for you. I might reread this at some point in time. Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, my favorite book that I read in 2024, I of course am definitely keeping. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell was a very good book, but I will not be reading this again. Once again, I know how this ends, and that takes away all of the build-up, so it can go for me. The whole A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, I am holding on to these for now. I do feel like I might reread these series once upon a time, because I did very much enjoy reading these. The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston can go. I've read it, I know what it is about, I won't be rereading it again, but it was a pretty good one as far as romance goes. Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh was hard to get through. I did not enjoy this one, just like The Unbearable Lightness of Being. It felt like a book that I should definitely read, but yeah, it can go. I am never picking that one up again. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, the same as the other one. I have read it, I know how it goes. I'm probably not reading it again. I did enjoy it though. The Giver by Lewis Laurie. I am going to hold on to this one because it feels like this book that you should have read if you are into dystopia. It is a book with a definite good idea surrounding it, so yeah. I see myself returning to this one. I also see myself buying a different version with maybe a nicer cover than this one, because this seems like a movie cover to me as well. The Regency Fairy series, Half a Soul, 10,000 Stitches, Long Shadow. I thought these were alright. I was not totally enchanted with these. I think I like the first one the most. I don't know. I'm in doubt if I want to keep these or not. I think I am going to put them on the shelf and then see a year from now if I feel like I still should own them or not. A maybe. Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, I am keeping these. I already read Onyx Storm as well, but that one is on my shelf with all the books that I have read so far in 2025. So at the end of the year it will be joining these. The Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I enjoyed reading these very much. I do feel like I could reread these at a certain point in time. So for now I'm going to hang on to these as well. The Appeal by Janice Hallett, I enjoyed this one too, and I have a lot of other books by Janice Hallett on my to be read, so I want to hold on to this one to make sure that if I enjoyed those as much, that I can have like all the books by Janice Hallett together. Hex by Jenny Fagan, I am keeping this. I enjoyed it a lot. I could definitely see myself rereading this. And the same goes for the last book that I have here, which is Never Let Me Go by Ishiguro, which was a wonderful read and I think kind of a classic by now. So holding on to this one as well. That's it. I'm done with my unhaul. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already, because it would mean a lot to me. And now I still have to get all these books out of my house somehow. Wish me luck. Bye!